What happens when the man who swore to love you in sickness and in health chooses to be in Santorini instead of the delivery room? Let me tell you, that's not just a punchline. It's the crack that split my world right down the middle, and I swear, even now, there are days I wake up and wonder if I'm still living in the fallout. My name's Anna Vance, and this isn't just a story about betrayal. It's about what happens when heartbreak hardens into resolve, when you stop asking why me and start asking now what. Because that's what happened the day my husband, Michael, missed our son's birth, not for a business trip in Chicago like he claimed, but for a sun-drenched escape in Greece with another woman, and then had the gall to let the world in on his little secret, one Instagram filter at a time, that I built my life on structure. I'm an architect. Foundations matter to me. The house Michael and I restored in a quiet Boston suburb was my pride. The kind of home you imagine filling with laughter, traditions, and a sense of permanence. To everyone on the outside, our life looked like one of those glossy magazine spreads. Michael with his magnetic charm, me with my blueprints and baby bump, the nursery a soft symphony of handmade mobiles and love notes to the future. We were 10 years in, still trading inside jokes, making plans, never missing a doctor's appointment. Until, suddenly, everything shifted. He called it a conference, hugged me with practiced tenderness, whispered promises, and swore he'd be home long before our little man decided to show up. First babies are always late, he said, his words as easy as the lies that would follow. And maybe, deep down, I knew something was off, but I tried to trust him. I tried to trust us. The first day he was gone, I told myself to relax. I texted with him about hotel rooms and missed him, felt silly for being so clingy. My best friend, Izzy, Dr. Isabella Rossi, came over, loaded me up with ice cream, and watched old movies while I pretended to be less anxious than I was. By the next day, though, Michael's messages got short. He sent a photo from a conference room, but the details didn't add up. I let it go. I was tired, hormonal, maybe even paranoid. Then, late that night, soaking in a lavender bath, I scrolled through Instagram and there it was, a story from Chloe Jensen, a junior associate at Michael's firm. Santorini, Greece. I saw the champagne, the endless blue of the Aegean, and then, clear as day, Michael's profile, his laugh echoing through that screen and straight into my heart. Picture after picture, everyone a new blow. Michael by the pool, Michael rubbing Chloe's shoulder, their feet tangled together in the sunset. The final photo was tagged #unforgettable. I sat there, soaking wet, not just from the bathwater but from the cold realization that every promise, every plan, was built on sand. Right then, as if on cue, my body joined the rebellion. The first real contraction hit like a lightning bolt, sharp, unrelenting. The pain was physical, but it was fueled by something deeper. The humiliation, the rage, the staggering sense of abandonment. My water broke. Everything in my carefully crafted world unraveled at once. Izzy was there for me in a way Michael never could be. She heard the fear in my voice and turned it into action. Ambulance, hospital, her steady presence cutting through the chaos. The birth wasn't the serene, playlist and aromatherapy moment we'd planned. It was raw and primal, a battle fought through pain and exhaustion, with Brenda the nurse barking encouragement, Izzy holding my hand, and Michael's betrayal playing on a cruel loop in my mind. But I did it. I brought my son into this world alone, and when they laid him on my chest, something shifted inside me. The love was blinding, and suddenly, I knew. This wasn't the end of my story. It was the start of a new one. When asked about his name, I dropped the sterling and named him Theodore Maxwell Vance. My father's name, my name, no room for the man who'd chosen an island over his own family. Hospital paperwork forced me to write Michael's name in certain boxes, but when it came to emergency contacts and next of kin, I filled in Izzy and my parents, left him blank. And when the hospital called Michael about the bill, they referred to him as Mr. X, not husband, not partner. The sound of those words was the first time he realized he'd lost more than a vacation. He'd lost his place in our lives. He flew back, desperate, convinced he could spin a story, fix the narrative like he always had. He tried the front desk, the side doors, finally sneaked up to my room. I was ready for him. So was Izzy and Brenda. He walked in with his practiced smile and his ridiculous bouquet, ready to sell me a fairy tale, and I shut him down. There was no lie big enough to cover up the truth beaming out from every pixel of Chloe's Instagram. He tried to plead, to argue, to claim his rights as a father, and Brenda, bless her, read him the note on my chart, the one that said under no circumstances was he to be treated as my husband or partner. Mr. X. She asked him to leave. And he did, wilted roses in hand, ejected from his own story. But you know, men like Michael don't go quietly. He sent floods of apologies, crafted elaborate stories about predatory colleagues and misunderstandings, begged forgiveness. I blocked his number, filtered his emails into a folder labeled evidence. My focus was on Theo, on healing, on starting again. Izzy took me and the baby to a hotel, somewhere with no memories. I called a tough-as-nails divorce attorney, Arthur Finch, who didn't just listen, he strategized. The house was mine, in my name only, a wedding gift Michael had once used to prove his love. Half the money in our joint accounts? Mine now. Arthur froze the rest, started the divorce, and that's when the real twist landed. Finch's forensic team unearthed something much uglier than adultery. Michael had been siphoning money from his clients, embezzling nearly $2 million. The trip to Santorini wasn't just a getaway. It was a celebration and a planning session with Chloe, his partner in crime. She wasn't just the other woman. She was his accomplice, the primary beneficiary on his secret account. They were plotting their escape when my early labor tripped the wire that I had a choice. Accept a quiet settlement with hush money and NDAs, or blow it all up. I chose justice. Arthur took our evidence to the DA and the SEC. The story blew up, splashed across the Boston Globe. Photos of Michael in handcuffs, Chloe arrested at her apartment, the sterling family reputation torched overnight. Michael tried to spin it, but Chloe turned state's witness, laid bare the whole ugly scheme, and it all fell apart. The judge gave me everything: custody, the house, child support. Michael's name was scrubbed from Theo's birth certificate. He went to prison for 8 years. Chloe got 2. In the end, I rebuilt, not just a house, but a life. I specialized in designing homes for single parents, poured my grief and strength into work that meant something. I stopped being haunted by the old betrayal, started embracing the scar as proof of survival. Sometimes I'd take Theo to the park, watch him point at a dog or giggle at the wind, and realize he was my masterpiece, the one thing in my life that was unbreakable. And then, almost a year later, a text from an unknown number. Michael, telling me he was sorry, promising to change, begging for a second chance. I deleted it, blocked the number, walked on, my son at my side, the sun on my back, letting the past dissolve behind you. S.So. Tell me, would you have done the same? Would you have chosen justice over comfort? Let me know in the comments. Like, share if you think someone needs to hear this, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us. Sometimes, you don't just survive the worst day of your life. You build a better one on the ashes.